That night, Duke Esteban had a vivid dream. He and Sally shared a moment of intimacy, their breathing heavy as they kissed. Even after waking abruptly, damp with sweat, the sensation lingered. Was that just a dream? He wondered, trying to shake the lingering confusion. Your Grace, the sun's been up for a while, Sally said, seated by the window. I see you're not a morning person. He groaned inwardly, realizing he had overslept. Great. There's no time to sit around. We need to prepare before someone shows up, she added as she stood. Esteban frowned, still caught between sleep and lingering thoughts. What do you mean by prepare? Won't your maid handle the room? Sally sighed. Maids in noble households are observant. If a man and woman shared a bed, the state of the sheets will give it away. Right now, it's obvious nothing happened. He paused, realizing she had a point, especially with someone like Elise's maid involved. So what do we do? Your Grace may find this odd, Sally said after a moment, but could you roll around the bed a little? Just enough to disturb it. He looked at her in disbelief. You're serious? When you're done, I'll do the same, she continued, unfazed. The bed should at least smell like both of us. Esteban sat stiffly on the bed, arms crossed. She insisted on sleeping on the couch yesterday. Now this? But before either could move, a knock interrupted them. Master, forgive the early visit, came a voice he recognized immediately. Masa, Elise's trusted maid. Esteban's eyes narrowed. Of course, Elise sent her. He looked to Sally, who also seemed alert. What is it? He called. The madam asked me to check whether you slept well or needed anything, Masa responded. Esteban clenched his jaw. She's fishing for something. Before he could reply, Sally tugged at his sleeve, a silent suggestion. Come in, he said. The door creaked open. Masa stepped in, bowed, and offered a polite greeting. I hope you had a restful morning, Your Grace. Sally responded with a quiet groan, lying back slightly. I'm sore all over. I may have been too rough on you last night. Masa's expression briefly changed, while Esteban remained unreadable. The dream from earlier returned to his mind, blurring lines between imagination and reality. Focus, he reminded himself. Turning to Masa, he said, You heard her. Go get Baron. The doctor? Masa blinked, momentarily thrown. Before she could object, Sally added, and perhaps a warm cup of tea as well. My voice is gone thanks to his grace. Masa nodded stiffly and left. Once the door shut, Sally turned to him with a light smile. I thought it was necessary to play along. Did I offend you? He shook his head. No. She leaned in slightly. Then may I touch you like I did today, only if necessary? He met her gaze. Otherwise you won't touch me at all? That's right, she replied. He raised an eyebrow. That's oddly specific. Later, after cleaning up and dressing, Sally stepped into the hall where the butler, Evan, was waiting. I'm ready, she told him. My apologies, Evan said. I couldn't find something more suitable on short notice. This will do, Sally replied. He studied her quietly. She seems modest, but she's bold. She even got through to the Duke. Forgive the late introduction, Evan said formally. I'm Evan Taylor, butler of the Esteban household. Recognition flickered in Sally's eyes. He was the same in my past life, stern but fair. Your room in the side wing is ready. Let me know if you need anything. Mr. Evan, she said hesitantly. Yes? I want to apologize for misleading you yesterday. Evan nodded calmly. Understood, but please don't repeat it. His Grace can be difficult when angry. I won't trouble you again, she assured him. Before I show you your room, there's someone you need to see. Her Grace, Elise Esteban. Sally didn't flinch. She simply nodded, her expression composed, ready for what came next. Sally followed behind Evan in silence, the weight of her new position settling uneasily on her shoulders. Evan walked with his usual calm, unhurried steps. Miss Sally, now that you're officially recognized as my master's mistress in this household. Fake mistress, she corrected quietly. Ah, yes. Well, even so, you'll need to greet the madam, Evan continued without missing a beat. It's just a formality, so please try not to be too nervous. Sally nodded. She had expected this moment. Meeting Duchess Elise Esteban was inevitable. At the Duchess's door, Evan knocked. Madam, it's Evan. I've brought Miss Sally. A poised voice responded from within. Come in. Inside, Duchess Elise sat with effortless elegance, her presence commanding. Her eyes met Sally's the moment she stepped in, sharp, assessing. At her side stood Masa, quietly pouring tea. So, you're the one my dear has taken an interest in, the Duchess said, offering a faint smile that didn't soften her gaze. Sally curtsied. I greet your grace. My name is Sally. LSC gave a slight nod, her expression unreadable. Then please, take good care of him. He's too much for me to manage alone. Her eyes dropped to Sally's worn clothing. But your appearance, it's quite rough. Where are you from? The back streets of the capital, your grace. I worked as a servant and ran a troupe. A troupe? LSC echoed, her tone laced with polite disdain. You must have had a difficult life. Sally didn't flinch. She understood what the Duchess was really saying. You're not meant to last here. Thank you for your hospitality, your grace. She replied evenly. LSC smiled, thin and cold. That will be all. As Sally exited, LSC turned sharply to Masa and slapped her. You said she was plain. Is that what your eyes told you? Masa flinched. She wasn't wearing makeup, and her hair was untidy. I must have misjudged. She looked like a mess, yes, LSC mused, tapping her chair arm. But with some cleaning up, she's not bad looking. A troop girl as his mistress? How pitiful. Do they think I'll be humiliated enough to ask for a divorce? She glanced at Masa. Has anyone been assigned to her yet? No, madam. Once someone is chosen, tell them this. She lifted the teapot and poured scalding tea on Masa's foot. Masa winced, lips pressed tightly together. If there's a pest in the house, we deal with it the harsh way. Accidents happen, don't they? The next morning, Sally stepped out of the bath, drying her hair with a quiet sigh. That was the best sleep and wash I've had in years. A voice interrupted her thoughts. Good morning, Miss Sally. My name is Daisy. I've been assigned to assist you. Sally turned. The girl looked nervous. Too nervous. I brought your morning tea, Daisy said, hands trembling as she lifted the pot. Sally observed her carefully as she took a seat. Thank you. Just out of curiosity, where were you told to pour the water? Daisy froze. Pardon? Your arm looks shaky. Were you planning to throw it at my face? The girl gasped, nearly dropping the pot. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Sally remained composed. She had seen this before. Daisy had once tried this, only to spill the water on herself, crying louder than anyone. Don't worry, Sally said gently. Nothing has happened yet, so there's nothing to forgive. And I doubt this was entirely your idea. Was it Masa? Daisy's eyes welled up. No. I mean, I did think about it myself. I had some bad thoughts and... It's fine, Sally interrupted softly. I won't report this to Masa. You'd only be in more danger if you returned without doing what she expected. Just do as I say, and you won't be punished. Elsewhere, Duke Casus Esteban sat in his study, deep in thought. Evan entered and bowed. How did she respond to Sally? The Duke asked. They met yesterday. She was, as expected. She told the servants in the side wing to look after Miss Sally. Casus scoffed. Of course, still pretending to be a saint. Assign only trustworthy staff to the side wing. Yes, your grace. Baron is due there today, right? Yes. Have him check on her. Make sure she's not hiding any illness. Understood. Casus returned to his work, but his thoughts drifted. For the third time, he caught himself staring blankly. Again, distracted, he muttered, rubbing his temples. A memory flashed, Sally's smiling face, calling his title in a dream. He shook it off. No, that's ridiculous. Just then, Evan burst in. Master, urgent news. Miss Sally, she's been burned. Casus's expression turned cold. What did you say? Baron just arrived. He's on his way to her room now. Casus's voice dropped, tight with anger. So Elsie's already begun. In Sally's room, Duke Esteban sat quietly, watching as the family doctor, Baron, closed his medical kit. Baron, what's going on? He asked, voice firm. Sally, composed and calm, met his gaze. That's what I'd like to know as well, she added. Baron scratched the back of his neck, clearly confused. There are no visible injuries, no burns, no illness. Physically, she's fine, he reported. Understood. You may leave, Casus said. Yes, your grace. Baron bowed and exited, leaving the two alone. Turning to Sally, Casus asked, Explain. I was told a maid poured boiling water on you. Sally gave a faint smirk. Almost. His expression darkened. So something did happen. She nodded. Yes, but the attempt failed. By now, Madame has likely heard I was injured. She must be pleased. Casus studied her carefully. Is there any reason to play along with her schemes? Of course. As long as she believes she succeeded, she won't interfere. For now. Realization began to settle in Casus's expression. So this was to buy time. It won't last, Sally admitted, but a little time is all I need. Casus rose from his chair. Then Baron arrived at just the right moment. I'll ask him to continue visiting in the coming days. Sally nodded approvingly. A burn that's serious would need regular checkups, Casus added as he headed for the door. That's true, but we'll need Baron's cooperation. He doesn't like being involved in matters like this. Casus glanced back at her. How do you know that? Sally hesitated for a second, then replied with a smile. Something I overheard during my time in the troop. Baron's well known. A subtle smile touched his lips, though suspicion lingered. You know far too much. Call it competence, she replied. Casus narrowed his eyes. A maid who can outmaneuver a noble. You really are the most suspicious maid I've met. She looked back at him, steady. Anything else you want to say? He asked. Sally paused, then said, The maid who was ordered to pour the tea, could I handle her punishment myself? Elsewhere in the manor, Masa lingered in the hallway, curious about Sally's condition. She's locked up all day like a rat, Masa muttered. How should I know how she's doing? Just then, she noticed Baron approaching. She coughed to catch his attention. How is the woman? She asked. Baron offered no reply, only a solemn look and a shake of his head. Masa smirked as she turned away. Madam will be pleased. Baron then entered Sally's room. Miss Sally, he greeted. Welcome, she said gently. Masa asked about your condition. I simply made a grim face. Whatever she imagined, it made her smile. Sally chuckled. She doesn't hide her thoughts well. Baron nodded. But it's clear His Grace cares about you deeply. He knelt, and again, thank you for supporting the Gina Medical Center. Your 10 years of backing have made a lasting impact. Sally waved a hand dismissively. You provide care nearly free of charge. It was the right thing to do. His Grace would have supported you regardless. Baron shook his head. His Grace may have funded it, but you made it happen. I owe you. You helped me first, she said quietly. Thank you for going along with this. Baron smiled. It's a small effort for such a great cause. I'll help whenever you need it. She clasped his hand briefly in gratitude. Whispers echoed through the manor halls. Did you hear? Daisy burned the woman in the side wing. And now she's her personal maid. She probably wants to keep her close for revenge. There she is now, Daisy, someone whispered as the young maid walked by. Daisy paused nervously before knocking on Sally's door. Miss Sally, you called for me? Sally turned with a soft smile. Yes. What's the gossip around the manor? Daisy looked uneasy. Some say your face was burned beyond recognition. Others say your body is scarred. The rumors are getting worse. Sally gave a light laugh. Thanks to Baron's help, everything's going smoothly. She pointed to a small plate. Come, have a seat. I saved this for you. For me? Daisy asked, startled. Of course, a small thanks for your help. Daisy hesitated. But I don't deserve. If you don't eat it, I'll throw it away, Sally said gently. Blushing, Daisy finally took a bite. It's so good. I've never tasted anything like this. Sally poured her a cup of black tea. There's nothing else to do today. Rest and enjoy it. Thank you, Daisy beamed. That evening, Duke Esteban returned. His butler Evan greeted him as he stepped from the carriage. Welcome back, Master. Sally? She's in the side wing. She waited for your return to have dinner, Your Grace. Casus raised an eyebrow. Dinner? I didn't. He paused, then smiled faintly. Trying to act like a proper mistress now, is she? Adjusting his tie, he walked toward the wing, then stopped suddenly. Is it too early for her to... Did Elsie try something again? Inside, he found Sally asleep, her expression peaceful. He exhaled softly. I worried for nothing, he muttered. He reached out toward her, but paused, instead taking a seat nearby. It's those bangs, he thought. They annoyed me from the start. Sally stirred and opened her eyes. Reaching out, she gently brushed his hair. My silver ball of thread, she murmured drowsily. You're pretty, my silver ball of thread, Sally murmured absent-mindedly. Realizing what she had just said, she quickly snapped out of her daze, startled to see the Duke standing before her. Your Grace? She stammered, pulling her hand back. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was you. I wasn't fully awake. But why didn't you knock? The Duke remained calm. I did. There was no answer. I didn't expect you to be asleep. I came because I heard you wanted to dine with me. He looked away, a hint of tension in his face. Sally, caught off guard, composed herself. I see. Still, please don't enter my room without permission. He nodded slightly. Understood. Without permission, he repeated softly, brushing a hand through his hair. It seems I was in the wrong. Trying to redirect the conversation, he asked, Do you like your room? It's fine. Which means something's missing. Let me know if you need anything. Sally hesitated. What I need? Her thoughts drifted to the past, when she had once asked him for luxuries, believing his gifts were tokens of affection. She had misunderstood, and by the time she realized it, it was too late. Before she could continue down that train of thought, he spoke again. Even if this is only temporary, you're the mistress of the Esteban household. You should always present yourself properly. His words were sharp. Sally met his gaze steadily. You should have been honest like this from the beginning. If you'd said it was just for appearances, I wouldn't have believed it was love. The Duke didn't respond right away. A flicker of something unreadable passed through his eyes. Then he asked, Isn't it inconvenient to have such long bangs? She shook her head. Not at all. I've had them for years. But people stare. They don't matter. The only ones who need to see my face are Daisy, Evan, and you. I'll move them aside if needed. Do you dislike my hair? His expression darkened slightly. It's not your hair. It's your eyes. You look like you're about to devour me. A knock interrupted them. Master, it's Evan. Come in, the Duke called. Evan entered with a tray. I brought this myself, Your Grace. I figured it would be more convenient. Sally offered a polite smile. Thank you. The food is still hot, so be careful, Evan said, setting the table. Thank you for the warning, she replied calmly. Cassis watched them interact in silence. She was always guarded with him, but somehow more open with Evan. The contrast unsettled him. Then, shifting the tone, he said, Sally, I've sent word to your former troop. Her posture stiffened. What do you mean? I informed them that you'll be staying here as my mistress. You no longer have ties with them. She took a moment to absorb the news. I see. Then that part of my life is over. Before the thought could settle, he added, and about the woman you asked about, Sarah. Sally's breath caught. Did you find anything? She left with a foreigner. No one knew who he was, but he took her to his hometown. Her eyes widened. A foreigner? I wasn't expecting that. I thought I might see her again, but I suppose she's far away now. Cassis nodded. I couldn't learn his identity, but he arrived in style. The other women were jealous. I see. That's good. There was a trace of relief in her voice. She must have meant a lot to you, the Duke observed. She was the lady I served. I'm glad I came here in her place, Sally said simply. Cassis regarded her thoughtfully. She cared so deeply for someone she served, yet she looks at me like I'm a stranger. What a complicated woman. Breaking the pause, he said, I'll try to visit more often. Sally replied with measured calm. Yes, since I'm your mistress, it's only natural for appearances. The Duke gave a small smile. I'm glad you understand. Her tone cooled. I'll leave once you divorce Elise. Outside her room, Daisy swept the hallway, humming quietly. Two maids watched her curiously. Why are you always smiling when you come from that room? Daisy giggled. I can't say. Oh, come on, tell us. One of the maids frowned. You haven't fallen for that woman's charm, have you? Daisy scowled. She's not just that woman. She's Miss Sally. She's kind, no matter her position. The maids exchanged uncertain glances. Who is she really to change Daisy like this? Later, in the Duke's study, Cassis questioned Evan. Do the maids still speak poorly of her? Not openly, but yes. She's been avoiding further trouble, but we don't know what they'll try next. Watch everyone near the side wing closely. Evan bowed. Yes, Your Grace. The Duke clenched his fist. This is for the sake of the plan. That's all. But a shadow of doubt lingered. After Evan left, he reflected on his new responsibility. How can I monitor the wing properly? Daisy can't do everything herself. Just then, two maids rushed up to him. I'd like to work in the side wing, one said. Chimed the other. I said it first. No, I did. Evan frowned. What now? That evening, as Cassis walked through the hallway, he encountered Elise approaching. They passed without speaking, until she stopped. How is Sally? She asked. I heard she was burned. I've been praying that her injuries are minor. Cassis didn't respond. How insincere. And speaking of her, Elise handed him an envelope. I'd like to invite her to my birthday party. I've only invited warm, kind people. She might find the guest list interesting. A knowing smile touched her lips. Cassis took the invitation from Elise with a composed expression, his gaze unreadable. You're accepting it, yes? Elise asked with a faint smile. Cassis didn't respond. He simply turned and walked away, leaving her standing there quietly. Nearby, a few maids whispered among themselves. Why is the Duke always so cold to the madam? I feel sorry for her, one murmured. Casus heard none of it. His mind was elsewhere. She keeps up her pretense so easily. Later, in his room, Casus sat by the fire, quietly examining the invitation. The madam's birthday party is approaching, he said, still staring at the parchment. Sally, what are you thinking? Evan entered with a stack of fresh towels. Spotting the invitation in Casus's hand, he remarked, Ah, the perfect setting for Miss Sally to make her debut. Casus gave him a sidelong glance. Wouldn't that be too much for a first appearance? She'll manage, Evan replied confidently. Miss Sally has a way of reading people. She's observant and surprisingly quick-witted. I'm not worried about her, Casus replied. It's the noblewomen I'm concerned about. Will she be able to deal with them? Evan chuckled. You'd be surprised. Even the maids who avoided the side wing are now eager to be assigned there. They keep asking me for a chance. That's unexpected, but not unwelcome, Casus said neutrally. Evan added, Miss Sally called a hairdresser today. The woman was apparently shocked at first, but even more surprised once she finished. Casus paused mid-motion as he buttoned his shirt. She cut her hair? Evan looked confused. Pardon? Never mind, Casus said, reaching for his coat. Your bath, sir? Evan asked as Casus headed for the door. I'll take it later, Casus replied, invitation still in hand. I want to see it for myself. In her room, Sally studied her reflection carefully. I resemble my past self more now. I should prepare properly if I'm to enter society. Just then, a voice came from the doorway. Sally, there's something I need to. Casus began, but stopped short when he saw her. She turned toward him. His gaze lingered. Your Grace, did you need something? She asked. He hesitated before speaking. You changed your hairstyle. Sally nodded. I did. She noticed the way he was staring. He often looked at her strangely, but today his reaction was even more apparent. Do I look odd? He quickly looked away. No, not at all. It suits you, he said awkwardly, a light flush on his face. Did you come here without knocking just to say that? She asked flatly. Later, over tea, the Duke brought up another topic. Evan is under pressure. The maids keep requesting transfers to the side wing. Sally looked surprised. Is that so? He nodded. Your reputation among the staff has shifted completely. What exactly did you do? I just expressed my appreciation, she said with a slight smile. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, the staff gathered around a tray of lemonade. Please have this while you work. It's from Miss Sally, a maid said with a smile. The head cook raised an eyebrow as she found a small note tucked beneath the glass. She wrote something again, someone said. What does it say this time? The cook read aloud. The walnut pie was sweet and delicious. Thank you for the lovely meal. She's so thoughtful. Doesn't seem like the kind of person others made her out to be, someone commented. I just hope her burn isn't too serious, the cook added. Back in the drawing room, Sally explained, I send thank you notes to the kitchen. It's the least I can do. Casus seemed genuinely puzzled. They already receive wages. Why thank them? Sally looked up at him. Because being thanked makes people feel appreciated. He frowned. That's hard to understand. Isn't a material reward more valuable than words? She studied him carefully. He's never been thanked, has he? Or thanked anyone himself? He asked quietly. Am I strange for thinking that way? She shook her head. Not at all, Your Grace. It's simply a common way of thinking among nobles. Casus looked down at the invitation in his hand. Still, I don't understand. Especially this. He set the invitation on the table. Sally recognized the handwriting. LSC gave this to you? She said it was for you. This is what you were waiting for, wasn't it? Sally took it in her hands. Yes. The invitation to the madam's birthday party. It's time I face her directly, she thought, giving Casus a small smile. Yes, this is exactly what I wanted. The day of the party arrived. The ballroom sparkled with light and color as nobles filled the space in elegant attire. Happy birthday, madam! The guests chorused. LIC smiled politely as they offered compliments. You look beautiful today, madam. You were always graceful, but today you're radiant. She accepted the praise with practiced ease. Thank you all. Then a familiar voice rose from the crowd. LEC. It was Princess Rachel. She approached with concern written on her face. I heard what happened. How could he, with a wife as lovely as you? It isn't fair. The guests whispered quietly among themselves. LEC offered a modest smile. Your Highness, don't say such things. My husband simply found someone he needed in that moment. He's always been a capable man. I've decided to accept his choice and welcome her. Princess Rachel looked astonished. You're going to accept her? Someone like her? Elise nodded. I sent her an invitation so we could start on good terms, though I doubt she'll come. Rachel's expression hardened. She refused your invitation. Turning to a servant, she said curtly, Bring her here. Now. Thanks for watching this episode of Manhwa Royal. If you enjoyed the recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more royal drama and intense twists. Until next time, stay royal.